All right, everyone. Donald Trump is off to a good start. This is a big one, here. Link in the description, not archived. It's a Truth Social post by Donald Trump. He sort of slides in the knife awfully slowly with this one. But he's snubbed Nikki Haley and Mike Pompeo. They will not be part of his administration. This was one of the key things that I think a lot of us were worrying about. I know that I was concerned that Trump is going to do the same thing that he did in 2016. And I had reasons to believe he wouldn't, but there's still that nervousness. But this looks like a bellwether of what's to come. The worry was that he would make the same mistake he did before, surround himself with neocons, and that they would do basically the neocon thing. They do exactly what they did before. Vance alluded to this and said, well, Trump brought these people in, they tried to influence him, and he wasn't having it, and so they rage quit. That was a good marker for being optimistic as to the cabinet and the people around Trump, but we weren't quite sure. But with this, I think it's fair to say that he's learned his lesson. That is that while there are some things that I disagree with Trump on, one of the biggest problems really had nothing to do with Trump. It had to do with the people that he surrounded himself with. You surround yourself with people that are effectively averse to your agenda, number one, and number two, want to carry out their own agendas. That's not Trump's strategy in governing, effectively. He wants to do it himself, and basically other people, they're going to have to convert into yes men and yes women, effectively, and simply carry out his will in their capacity within the cabinet. It looks like he's going to be doing that, as opposed to his prior approach, which was trying to wine and dine elements of the neocons, get him aboard, and it didn't work. He managed to secure a number of domestic and foreign victories, which was good. He did it, but he did it in spite all odds because he was surrounded by these people that were constantly trying to stymie him. This time around, Nikki Haley, war hawk in chief herself, Mike Pompeo, the ultimate backstabbing traitor. Trump comes out and says, well, I loved working with them, but I'm not inviting him aboard this administration. Thank you, Donald. That puts my mind at ease. One of the biggest worries is that Pompeo would get his slimy ass back into the administration. Looks like Donald Trump has officially named and shamed him now. It's very, very telling that Haley and Pompeo would be the two people specifically referred to in his post. And I think I know why that is. It doesn't take a genius to figure out. Of all of the slimy neocons, most of them they wore out their welcome. There was no possibility that Trump was going to bring him back into the administration. Of those that were still outstanding, where there hadn't been a final decision sort of publicly made, Nikki Haley and Mike Pompeo are arguably the two worst. Backstabbers, warmongers, the usual deep state thing. And so a lot of Trump's fans, and this is a really good tell, a lot of Trump fans, including people like myself that voted for him, were upset over the possibility of these people being near the administration. Trump and probably the people around him monitored social media. They pulled a Bethesda. I'll get into that. It's a little bit microcosmic and has nothing to do with politics, but it's a funny exemplar here. He looked at the public sentiment. He said, okay, but 99% of the people that voted for me fucking hate Mike Pompeo. It's probably a good idea not to bring him aboard. Now, when I say he pulled a Bethesda, it's like, a Bethesda, one of the few gaming companies that literally does not give a shit what mods you make. And so what they do is they look at the public sentiment about their games. So when you look at Fallout 3, for example, you look at what people modded about that game, player housing and proto-settlements and things like that. And they looked at that, and they took the advice of the gaming public. They said, okay, well, we're going to hatch these into the next game. I have no doubt that they're doing that for the next installment. Same with the Elder Scrolls. They're one of the top companies for actually doing this. They release an 85% complete game, and then they let people give their feedback effectively by what mods they're making, how many people are downloading them, what is it that they're interested in changing about the game. Well, we'll change it more or less for the next entry within our title. I think Trump is doing that right now. He looked at the public sentiment of people that supported him, and he determined that it was a bad idea to have Nikki Haley and Mike Pompeo anywhere near the administration. He happens to be fundamentally correct, by the way. It would have been disastrous to have either of them aboard. it would have immediately caused backlash among the people that supported him. It would have been seen as almost treasonous. That people would get buyer's remorse on in 10 seconds flat if Nikki Haley were anywhere in the administration. Even if Mike Pompeo could have been called in to clean the goddamn toilets in the White House and people would have complained about it. So he did the right thing. I strongly support this. There are some things I've got to criticize Trump about, actually. I'll be putting that in the live docket later. But mostly, though, he's hitting all the marks. One of his first major addresses, post being elected, has to do with online expression and free speech in general. I liked that. By the way, it tacks very close to his Agenda 47. I think that that particular wish of mine is probably going to be granted. That's great. Now he's shafted several of the most notorious neocons and said unequivocally, these people are not going to be invited to be in the administration. And the wording, take a look at it for yourself. Analyze it for just a second and see how funny it is. Well, I really enjoyed working with them, but I'm not inviting them back into the administration. Bye, good luck, take care. It really is Donald Trump's way of icing them out more than anything else. He delivered it with finesse, in a way that the legacy media can't bitch about, which is great. It's really difficult to mollify them. And thankfully, for those of us who are more core MAGA, again, I'm not a Republican or a conservative, but I am a populist/libertarian, knowing that Nikki Haley is not going to be anywhere near the White House anytime soon makes me sleep a little bit better at night. Knowing that Mike Pompeo is not going to crawl his slimy ass back into the administration and act like Grima Wormtongue is refreshing to me. I'm very much enjoying that, and so thank you, Donald. Yet another gift. He's done more without even technically being president at all. He doesn't take office until January 20th. Again, my extra birthday present this year. He's already been more transformative, arguably, than the Biden administration was in 4 years of actually holding power. Maher, right now, he's having a nervous breakdown, trying to explain to his fellow liberals the situation. He's not listening to him as usual. He's going broken clock mode as we speak, and I find that very funny, too. By the way, yerba mate, blackberry flavored, really, really fucking good, actually. Yeah, thank goodness. Nikki Haley and Mike Pompeo won't be part of the administration. Well, you've already scored another victory. Yes, that's exactly what we voted for Trump for, and he is already delivering, and he hasn't even been sworn in yet. Nikki Haley is the worst of the worst. I don't think that Trump actually enjoyed working with either of these people. He's just sort of putting a smooth it over layer on his statement, which is very, very focused on his core fan base. Don't worry, everyone, he's saying effectively. The neocons are not going to be in the administration, okay? Trust me, I understand your sentiment. I don't like these bullshitters either. That's basically what Trump is telling you. That's about all. Peace out.